So what was that moment like for you when you look up and see that time?
I didn't really see the time. I was more worried about like the fact that I just won a race against some of the best guys and not just, you know, anywhere else, just not just Iowa, just like the entire country. So it was really cool to just to win the race. And I didn't know my time until probably like 30 minutes later because I was too busy, too busy doing what I do best, which is just I end up just throwing up. So it wasn't really fun.
Gotcha. And when you're going into a race like that, did you think that was winning a possibility for you, especially what you did in a high school state track meet? Did you know that winning was a possibility even against the competition you were going against?
I knew I had a really good chance, but I knew it was going to be very, very hard. I mean, those guys are some of the best in the country. So it's just really hard to work with like just the mentality of like I could do it, but like it's I'm only a junior and all those guys are seniors, so I knew if I didn't do it this year, maybe I could do it next year and to do it this year is just amazing and to put a nice little stamp of approval of sub 4 is even more cooler.
So
Yep.
what was that when you realized that you set a record? You know, you're the fastest junior of all time in this country's history. When did you realize that? And then what was that like when you heard that?
I didn't know that I broke it until one of my future teammates from Oregon texted me. It was just like, "Hey, thanks for taking my record, man." And I was just like, "Oh, I I got the junior record. Like I didn't even know I did that." So it was really cool to break the junior record, and I didn't even know I did that until he texted me. So yeah, I mean, it's just a big moment in my career, and it's just only a stepping stone because I got one more year left.
I think I spoke to you after you ran that 800 anchor leg at the state championships, and you said you broke 150, and you said it was a dream to break 150. You've only dreamt about it. You broke it by 3 seconds. So what you did at the state championship, was your mind did that kind of open up your mind to what was possible going into this race, knowing what you could do when you were kind of under the pressure there?
Yeah, it kind of did open my mind up a bit. I mean, it was just, I could really be one of the best to maybe do it, not just the state, but the country. And like a 147 time at the time was like, I was roomed with a 147 kid in New York. So it was just like kind of insane to think about it. And then when I broke four in the 1600, I was like, okay, well, I want to do this in the mile and to do it on an actual, like, really good field. And it was really cool to do that. And I mean, it's hard to process a lot of this right now because it's just so much emotions going on right now.
I assume for most guys, the end of their track season is kind of, they get to take a break. For you, you had this incredibly competitive race coming up. So what was kind of the work ethic? How'd you go up? And I assume when you're going to a state championship, you're trying to be in like the best shape of your life going into that. How'd you take it up another notch going into that race in St. Louis?
So I kind of just rode my taper in for my training and really worked on just hitting my workouts very good. I mean, just feeling great during my workouts and having that confidence going into my workouts. I made sure every time I did my workout, I stayed off my home track because the home track that I was at is just always windy. So I was like that wouldn't be a good confidence booster going in. So yeah, just really keeping up my confidence and moving on, going through and feeling smooth.
And since you've had, all these results in all these great times at the end of your junior year, now you go into your senior year. What is next? What goals have you set for yourself?
Just try to get through this and, run the best times I can and win meets. I mean, that's the main goal that I've had and not just be one of the best in the state, but hopefully establish one of the best guys in the country. Obviously, at the end of the day, there's always going to be better. And, I'm excited to see that when it happens.
Gotcha. And it's something we noticed, especially at the state championship, you kind of showing your personality on the track afterwards. What's been the cause for that? What kind of inspired you to say, go ahead and show kind of that flair at the end of races and kind of show out for the crowd?
Just show up, just, give people a show to watch. I mean, this sport's just growing and it just keeps growing. And right now it looks linear, like how the sport's growing. I mean, it just keeps getting more and more popular, and I just want people to watch the sport and, other distance runners watching, look up to me or, because I looked up to another guy. Like it's a big thing. Like every guy looks up to another guy before moving on and doing bigger things, maybe. And it's really cool to see it.
And obviously, you said you had, your career best last night. Does being in a race with that level of competition kind of help you take yourself to maybe that little bit of an extra level?
Yeah, so my coach, my throws coach, had this mentality, like how he said how I raced, and he's like, I got the see guy, get guy mentality. So, what that means is when I see a guy that I know like they are one of the best, I know he is the best, and I would just find him and then try to catch up to him and try to, make a move the last 200 meters to get away from him or to just make a risky move and do something about it. I mean, it doesn't I'm not really too scared about the competition that goes in, and I just like to keep my head cool. I mean, just keep going.